Welcome back to another episode. I'm out at a farm pond that I've fished at a couple times already this year. Caught a couple 4-pounders, of course, when I wasn't filming, so hopefully I get one on film today. My buddy Nick joined me today. Haven't fished with him in a while. And I'm gonna start off with the frog, hopefully get a nice topwater bite going. Stay tuned, guys. Oh, had one.
Oh, yeah?
My drag slipped. Nick's got one. What's it on?
Jig.
Nick got one on the jig. First one of the day. There we go. Fourth bite on the frog. Finally got him. There we go. There we go, guys. Little pounder on the frog. Not too bad. Fourth bite on the frog, actually. And his tail's bleeding. I think they're spawning in here. I don't know if you can see that. But ate that frog down pretty good. Not a bad little fish to start the day. All right, first one of the day, letting them two. This one's a little more shady and usually has some bigger fish in it. I've caught some nice 4-pounders out of this one. And of course there's always geese in here, which kind of sucks because they kind of mess up the water, but it is what it is. I'm in this nice shady spot here. I'm gonna toss around the frog a little bit more and maybe throw a shaky head or a chatterbait also, so we'll see. I missed him again. I'm so bad at throwing a frog. I'm 1 for 6 on the frog, guys, and that one looked like it had some heft to it. Picking up the chatterbait. First cast on the chatterbait. There we go. First cast on the chatterbait. Probably close to 2 pounds. Not a bad one. Choked it down. Not a bad fish. Got a quick release. That was sick. Okay, so at this point in the video, the mic on my GoPro actually broke, so there's no audio for the rest of the video, so you're only going to be hearing me voice recording. But long story short, I switched to a trick worm real quick because Nick spotted a fish that he thought I could catch, so here's me trying to catch that. So he had seen the fish. I actually got my chatterbait stuck in that tree right in front of me there, and he saw the fish on the other side of my line, so he was like, pitch your worm in there real quick, see if you can catch it, and here it is. I caught him right there. Just a little pounder, but it was still pretty cool because Nick could see the fish the whole time. I couldn't see it, but it was really cool. I'm kind of disappointed that the audio isn't on here because it was pretty exciting. But anyway, that's a little pounder on the Zoom Finesse worm, not the trick worm, on a little 1/8 ounce shaky head. So it was not a bad fish. I was really excited to catch that one and then just let him go right here. So then after that I switched back to the chatterbait because I was really liking the moving bite, and on my first cast back with the chatterbait I had one following it and hooked him pretty much right almost at my feet. It was a couple yards away, but it was really exciting. He bit it pretty close to where I was, so that was pretty awesome, just paralleling the bank with the little bluegill colored chatterbait, and he really smoked it. Not a big one again by any means, but still a pretty cool fish, especially when I don't use a chatterbait that much. It's just cool to use new baits and stuff like that. And I had it with a little swim bait trailer. there I am showing it to Nick. As you can see, it's not that big of a fish, but not a bad one at the same time, and letting him go. Okay, so then right after I caught that fish, I made another cast out on the same stretch of the bank. I was just paralleling this bank pretty much. Almost a lot of my fish came off of this bank. The one on the worm that you just saw a few seconds ago wasn't, but the one you're going to see in a little while was, and there's the bite on that one. Pretty much just ripped him right out of the water. Another little dink. But, I mean, it's so much fun just paralleling the bank with the chatterbait and catching them on a moving bait, like always. But there it is, just a little pounder. And there's the little chatterbait in his mouth. Got him out and about to get him a quick release on this little guy, as I always say. And there he is back in the water. Okay, so this is where things got a little bit juicier. I switched back to the trick worm on my spinning rod and made one cast on the bank where I was just fishing with the chatterbait. And it was a bad cast. As you can see in the video, I think I hit the tree limb and had to get it out. So I made another cast, basically my first real cast into the water. Just hopping it along the bottom. And just wait to see what happens here. This is the thumbnail picture that you've been waiting for the whole video. 3.5 pounder comes up and smokes it. There I am setting the hook right there. And reeling it in, I didn't actually think it was that big because it didn't pull that much at first. And then once I started to get it in a little bit, you can see my rod bends a little bit more out. And I put my rod tip down because it went towards the surface. Then it started even pulling a little bit of drag off towards the other side right here. And it was actually pretty crazy. I thought it was bigger than it was at that point. But then I went down and lipped it, and I thought it was a 4 pounder at first, but it turns out it was only about 3.5. But not a bad fish on the little 5-inch worm. It's kind of crazy those little baits will still catch big fish like that. And there you see me putting my fist in its mouth because I thought it was bigger, and I thought I could fit my whole fist in the mouth of the fish. Okay, so now I am giving the fish a little breather in the water because Nick went up to grab my scale for me so I could keep the fish alive. And he brought the scale down and the little fish gripper I just bought, which the fish gripper weighs 0.22 pounds, so you have to subtract the weight of that when you weigh the fish. And as you'll see here, I'm weighing it and the weight locks at 3.9 exactly. So minus 0.22, that makes it a 3.68 pound fish, which is a pretty good fish for here in Maryland. It's not giant, but it's also a pretty solid fish. I mean, I would love to be catching 3.5 pounders all day in any state pretty much, but up here in Maryland especially, it's a pretty nice fish, especially for, I'm guessing this one was pre-spawn because it was pretty fat. It hadn't laid its eggs yet, I don't think. Still pretty fat fish. So, and then here I am going to let it go and let her off to live another day and hopefully catch her again. And she gave me a nice kick and splash and said goodbye. Just a quick update for you guys. I don't actually know how many fish I've caught, but I caught that one 3.5 pounder on the shaky head and then one on the cast right after that. Then unfortunately I broke it off, so I just came up here to retie. So I thought I'd give you a little update. This is the top pond here, pretty good pond, and then the one the bigger fish came in is down there. So I mean, both are good ponds. I was fishing the frog mainly up here, and then I switched to other baits down there and caught a few more fish. So I'll probably come back up here at some point, but I caught a bigger one down there, so I want to keep throwing it down there for now. I've got about another hour to fish, so it's been a good day so far, and this should be a good video. Thanks for tuning in, and keep staying tuned. Hopefully I'll catch some more fish. So then I went back to that same bank and made another cast, and what do you know, but I catch another little dink. But it just is proving how much this bait really works. And last time I was at this pond, I was throwing a trick worm, which is 2 inches longer than this finesse worm, but I just needed something on the bottom. I mean, if I threw the trick worm, I probably would have got the same bites. It wouldn't make a difference, but here's just another little dink on that worm, proving that it works again. And I actually had put a little bit of scent on it, some garlic scent, which definitely helps the fish hold on a little longer, but you get the gist. I mean, they're choking it down real far, and I was getting good hook sets and getting them in pretty easily. This was another pounder, bright red gills, really healthy looking fish. Also, this one looked like it hadn't spawned, so I was wondering if maybe the water in this bottom pond was a little bit colder, because I didn't catch any with bloody fins in this bottom pond that I remember, but a few in the top pond, and there that one goes to live another day. And here's me just showing what I'm doing with the worm, and here's a little fast clip of the rest of this clip before you get to the clip where the audio actually is working, which is the outro, filmed on my bigger camera, not the GoPro. That's why you could hear me in the clip before this one, because it was filmed on my other camera, not the GoPro, and I didn't realize the mic was broken this whole time. Alright guys, so we had a good day out here on the ponds. We probably caught about 12 to 15 between the two of us, and the 3.5 pounder, so it was a pretty solid day. We started off throwing frogs a little bit, got a few blow-ups, but we couldn't really get the hookup ratio, so started throwing shaky heads and worms and caught some more. It was a good night out here. Thanks for tuning in, and catch you in my next video.